while it's starting up, I'm gonna have to go grab the link and share it out a few places. I didn't know when we'd be starting exactly, whether it'd be, closer to the time I gave you or a little bit after. I didn't know when I was actually gonna be ready for this because it was a pretty busy day.
So you don't use StreamYard?
No, I don't. I actually host everything on my end from like OBS and
Yeah,
stuff. That's why we use Discord as our video service call.
that makes sense. Um, it's just that I can share this to my Facebook fans if we were using
Oh,
StreamYard,
yes,
but
yeah.
I don't know how to do it through Discord.
No, that's fine. I could drop you the link. I'm just gonna go grab it. As soon as it decides to refresh. Okay. Where would you prefer me to send you the link? Would you prefer it here on Discord or through Twitter, or where
That's
would be
fine.
easiest?
Right here is fine.
Okay. Here, I'll also drop it here as well, so our normal viewers, can know that we're up to something tonight.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Are we going to be talking about anything not safe for work?
I don't believe so. That's
Okay,
entirely
just
up to
making
you,
sure.
as you are
No,
the
I don't
guest.
plan to. I'm just making sure because
I will match your energy.
don't want to offend some of my friends. You know?
Yeah. We are currently live. We're just chatting.
Oh, we are?
Oh yeah. We've been live for the entire time I've been saying that.
Oop. So
But I
people
could
can watch us
also.
now or what?
Oh yeah. The link is live. The one I gave you. People who go in, they could see us. We're
Okay.
live.
I
I
never
can.
received the link, or did I? Reset.
I sent it to you.
Oh, now I see you. But I don't see the. Okay, let's see here. Here it is. Copy and into Facebook.
But here, I'll leave an extra
One
note in
sec.
chat for anybody who comes in late.
What kind of note?
Oh, just to let any chatters to come in to keep the conversation safe for work for today.
Okay. It doesn't matter wherever. I just wanted to make sure that we don't. You know what? Things have gotten off the rail with other interviews too. So
Really?
I don't think anyone's really gonna matter anymore.
Hey, anyway, yeah, no, that's fine. So it's whatever's cool with you, we'll do.
Yeah.
So I got all of that set up
I
now. I can also pull your project up onto the screen.
My target
whenever you
audience
want.
is teenagers, but I get a feeling adults mainly like it. My stuff.
I feel like that's the case with a lot of things these days. Like, I think when I personally write, I'm mostly aiming at an older teen audience half the time, but most of the people who end up reading it tend to be people closer to my age.
Yeah.
But I guess that's most of the people running around on the internet, right? There's not. I guess there's more teenagers than there used to be. I mean, I was a teenager when I first started doing things on the internet, but I felt very lonely back then. Now, it's hard for you to go anywhere without somebody trying to tell you that they're like 13. It's like, maybe you shouldn't tell people that.
But who tells you that?
You'd be surprised. You'll be like on a stream and somebody be like, hey, I'm 16. It's like, well, you're not even supposed to have an account on, say, like Twitch or some of those other sites. If you're not 18, maybe you should keep that to yourself.
Yeah. I've never had that problem, but then again, I don't regularly stream.
Yeah. Anyway, would you like to introduce yourself and your project?
Yes. My name is Matthew Craig. I'm the author of a young adult superhero book called Beacon the Hero of Heartland, and lately I've been trying to kickstart a supernatural meets Grimm style comic called The Night Slayers.
Okay. Would you want to tell us about the Night Slayers? What kind of? Well, you
Basically,
gave us the story type, but what kind of characters are they? What's the MO?
MO, I forget what that means.
Mode of operations.
Um, well, basically it's a Monster of the Week supernatural mystery comic. Each issue will be self-contained for the most part, and feature a monster based on a famous fairy tale. First issue will be based loosely on Rumpelstiltskin. Second one will be even looser, based on The Little Mermaid.
Okay. That's an interesting direction to start with. People do like those classic Grimm stories. It's something everybody's familiar with, so you can
Yeah.
take a lot of shortcuts by using that as like your starting point, and then you can really expand into the specific areas of your
Yeah.
interest.
One of the main twists we have that I can actually reveal in the first issue is, you know how you have to defeat Rumpelstiltskin by guessing his name? That doesn't
Yep.
happen in this comic. They have to
Okay.
defeat him another way. I'm not going to reveal how, but
I mean, that's fair. I mean, you don't want to spoil the story too much, right? You want to actually give
yeah,
people a reason to hop in.
yeah.
But
But
the actual crew, right? Your Night Slayers. The name implies that there are kind of crew. Like you said, you were kind of comparing this to like the X Files and stuff. So you've got like
yeah,
say
it's
a Mulder and Scully type characters. Like what are these
yeah.
people like?
Well, they're paranormal investigators. Carl Vincent is a disgraced reporter who tried to report on that paranormal events were really happening, and got kicked out of his job. And Emily Niles was a librarian until her dad basically staked a vampire and got sent to an institution.
You mean like an asylum type institution?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they locked him up in a padded wagon for digging up someone and shoving a stake through their heart.
Okay. So I'm
Well,
guessing
that
this.
was going to be the thing, but we deleted that scene, I think.
But is it
Sadly.
still in the lore? Like you deleted the scene? Is it still happening?
In my
or-
mind, it is.
Okay. Because I would imagine this would be part of the driving point of the characters because of this historical family event.
Yeah. My editor thought the comic was too long, and that 8 pages of the 28 pages needed cut. Which
Maybe.
makes sense because it's a lot cheaper this way. I like a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
his edits.
Well, 20 pages is about the standard, I think, these days. It didn't used to be,
Yeah.
but it's what people expect. Manga is mostly that long. Even like if you go and buy a Marvel comic, you're probably only getting maybe 20 pages out of it, maybe even only 14 with half of it being ads. But it's about 20
I
now.
hate to argue, but what do you mean manga is 20 pages long?
Well, an
I
actual
thought manga
chapter.
was a lot.
Right. So
Oh, a
mostly
chapter, okay.
what we usually buy ends up being the collected volume of it, right? Which will have multiple
Oh,
chapters.
but we get
when you go
graphic
like your
novel
actual
versions?
Yeah, we usually get the tankobon, which just means trade paperback in Japanese. And that has like maybe 10 chapters in it. But week by week
Yeah.
in the magazine, when you get just that chapter of the manga, it's like 20 pages on average. Maybe
Oh,
you might have a
I didn't know
30-page
that.
one if it's like an issue one.
I only know manga from the Legend of Zelda manga.
Which is
Which
also
I
a
love,
collected
by the
chapter
way.
version. It's a great one.
Yeah. I'd love to get my hands on the Metroid one, but unfortunately, I don't think that ever made it to English.
Yeah. But because of that, most people, when they expected an issue 1 or a chapter, I think they are expecting about 20. And like you said, it keeps the printing cheaper. Though, I mean, historically, comics used to be a lot longer. So I think comics should just
Yeah.
be as long as they need to be. Obviously,
Yeah.
your page count needs to be divided by 4 because you got to print it.
Yeah.
But aside from that, your editor probably just knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. You may know him. He's somewhat known in the comic industry. He's called Charles D. Massoint.
Not familiar.
I guess he's mainly known for government education about the. Well, he does board games too, but he also did like government handout comics for the pandemic, how to survive a pandemic comics and propaganda basically, but not exactly propaganda, but PSAs, I guess is the word.
Yeah, there's a
But
fine
he,
line between the two at times.
yeah, he's making some more fictional comics. He helps other people with them, and I know he recently had a partner who one of the people he helps is recently published a comic called Brides, which was about Dracula's wives breaking out of the castle and doing their own thing. I don't know any more about it than that.
Almost sounds like the beginning of Van Helsing, or I guess technically not the beginning. The beginning is about Frankenstein's monster, but the part after that where they actually get introduced to Dracula's family.
I have this belief that Van Helsing, the movie, started out as a Castlevania movie.
It feels
and
like
somewhere
that.
They gave up.
But I think also it's because Castlevania almost started off as like a Van Helsing fan fiction. So I think there's probably some overlap there between the two of them.
Yeah. But the whole Dracula also being scientifically literate, being a scientist in addition to being a magical user and a vampire, that made me think, oh my god, this is Van Helsing. I mean, this is Castlevania.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. A little bit. So, yeah, you said the first one where you're going to be dealing with Rumpelstiltskin, right? Which is, it's good to know who the villain of the week, monster of the week is. But what about the actual course of the story and the plot? Like, obviously, don't spoil anything, but what is the driving force of the characters? Like, what can we expect going into this?
Well, really, other than the first issue and the second issue, I don't really have much more written.
Okay.
And I never really had an overarching plot other than... Have you ever watched Kolsak the Night Stalker?
I don't believe I have.
Well, it was a monster of a week, too, with... The only overarching story was the main character wanted to become rich and famous by proving magic was real. It was the basics for what inspired X-Files, but it was basically this elderly reporter kept finding out that the murders he was investigating were committed by monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike most heroes who are motivated by, heroic motivations, Kolsak mainly was motivated by greed. He wanted to prove they were real so he would become rich and famous. But when he never was able to prove it, he eventually thought, well, I might as well kill the monster while I'm at it.
Oh, okay.
It was an interesting take on this.
Like an opposite of Sherlock Holmes almost, right? Where there's a lot of mysterious looking things in Sherlock Holmes, and his motivation is to just figure out what the truth is, and usually it's not mysterious at all. While this guy, instead of having like this truth motivation, well, I guess it kind of is, but it's almost like an egotistical truth motivation. It is a mystical thing, and he's trying to prove that it's mystical.
Yeah, it's they rebooted it a few years ago and completely dropped the he's greedy aspect
Hmm.
to make him more heroic, and it didn't work
No, it
in a
sounds like
lot of
the
people's
ego would have to
opinions.
be part of the character.
Yeah, he he. I don't know how it would never work in modern day because he was just too greedy and egotistical. But what made it so great was how funny he was.
Hmm.
He was so egotistical. He would go up to experts in their fields and tell them they're wrong, flat out, without
Yeah,
any guilt at all, and it was hilarious.
almost sounds like a Michael Crichton character.
I don't remember who that is.
It's a guy who wrote like Jurassic Park and Sphere and a bunch
Oh,
of stuff like that. And usually the main character's book is basically him every single time, just some other character that's representing him.
oh,
And he'll go around explaining like why everybody else just has all this hubris and how they're wrong about whatever. That's
yeah.
the character Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park is basically that character.
Oh, you
Except
mean the
he's
guy who
way
actually cloned the dinosaurs?
no. Jeff Goldblum's
The
character.
scientist? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one who's like, you ever stop and ask, not if you can, but if you should. That's basically the character,
Yeah.
except he's way, way more in people's face about it in the book than he is in the movie.
Oh, really?
Hmm. He has like a whole rant lecture at dinner that they completely cut out of the movie.
Uh, I actually found his character kind of insufferable in the movie.
Yeah, well, he's kind of
Oh,
like
well.
almost the main character of the book. So
Can't tell my mom that. She loves Jurassic Park.
yeah. Oh yeah, Mike Walters is here. He said he covered the interview you did with Chris Braley on on the Indie Comic Show Date case the other day.
Oh, thank you. Um, hmm, I kind of lost where I was for a second. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about character inspiration because you were talking about, I
Yeah.
think
Well,
yeah.
the names Carl comes from Carl Kolsak.
Okay.
Vincent comes from a character called David Vincent, who was in The Invaders,
Okay.
which was basically a show about aliens. It's kind of like Invasion of Body Snatchers, the series, where this one man finds out that aliens are invading by replacing us with clones. But the twist is it will take years for them to finally take over.
Oh yeah. It's like it would
So
be a
he has
slow,
time.
inevitable takeover if they don't do
So
anything
he
about
has
it.
time to
Yeah.
try to prepare humans to fight back.
Yeah, not like an
But
actual
like
invasion of the body
Kolsak, most people
snatchers.
don't. What?
Because that would have the unlike the movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where that would have happened in like a couple months if they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. Um. In yeah, and well, kind of like Kolsak, David Vincent usually doesn't get anyone to believe him about what's going on, but or if he does, the witness will end up getting killed
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the episode. Is a kind of a trait in the show. So basically, it's one man versus an entire alien invasion. That kind of inspired me too. And then Emily Niles is the other character that is the other paranormal investigator, the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember where I got Emily, but Niles comes from what was his name? I don't remember his name, but he wrote. I think his name was Steve Niles. He wrote 30 Days of Night.
Oh, okay.
And I was thinking I would make Lilith a villain in the comic eventually, but I don't know how to fit her in.
Oh, I'm sure it'll eventually come to you.
Yeah.
The better thing about these things is once you have like a moving universe, once you start gaining momentum on the writing, eventually the way things start working, stuff pops in your head and like, oh, I can actually fit this character in here.
But right now, I um don't have an overarching plot other than prove to the world that that Emily's dad isn't crazy.
Yeah, which is it's a very strong character motivation. I think when you're dealing with these sort of monster of the week sort of stories, is it probably better not to have like an overarching plot? It's good to have like the characters to be properly motivated independently, and that's a good motivation for the character.
Yeah.
It keeps them driving what they're doing. But a lot of times, like it's like the show Supernatural, where it starts off as a monster of the week and it was like really good for a certain audience. But then when they started moving into the overarching story, they burnt off a certain section of their audience and then picked up like another one who was more interested in those overarching stories. And that can be fine if you pick up another one, but you don't necessarily want to alienate the people who came into your story for one reason because you're no longer doing the
I
one
hate to
reason anymore.
I hate to disagree, but there was always one overarching story from the beginning. What killed Sam and Dean's mom
Well,
was the
yeah,
overarching
but that was
plot of
kind
the
of just a
first movie.
character motivation, right? It didn't have to
Yeah.
spiral into this war of heaven and hell.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
big upscale, but yeah, I can see what you mean now.
Yeah, yeah. Like you could have just had that as a character motivation throughout the whole series, and it still could have been mostly Monster of the Week until they eventually find out. Maybe like the last monster was the one that had the
Yeah.
answer to that question. They chose to drag it into this like long running plot about a war between heaven and hell. So it's like I think when you are starting with Monster of the Week, there's this big tendency that a lot of stories want to move into like a greater narrative instead of just fulfilling their characters' motivations. I think X-Files, which is obviously you state as one of your inspirations, teeters that line pretty good because there's obviously
Yeah.
there are some background plots that carry over with the smoking man throughout the later series, but they don't really lose the plot too much with their Monster of the Week.
I never actually got that far in X-Files. I only enjoyed the first few seasons.
That's fair.
And I tried to watch the continuation. Well, I did watch the continuation, hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how it ended?
I actually forgot because I think I only saw like the first few episodes, and some
The
of them were a
aliens
little too
won.
artsy. Oh, the aliens won. That's horrible.
Yeah, the very last scene is Mulder getting infected with the alien virus. And I guess
Yeah.
a little while afterwards, they must have gotten some angry letters because they made another continuation series where, oh, that never actually happened. That was just Scully having a bad dream.
Mm.
And I didn't even bother watching that season.
Yeah, because the last episode I ever saw was the one with the town that they went to, and it had like the shape shifting people or whatever in it, and the beekeeper. And
Oh, I think I've seen that one.
yeah,
The Amish aliens or what?
yeah, and it's like that was the
That
last
was
one
a
I
weird
watched.
one.
And I think that was also the one that took me out of it. Like I don't really care about the rest of your continuation after this.
That was a weird one.
Mhm.
But I was loving the continuation series until they just ended with the aliens winning, and I'm like, seriously? That's how it ends?
Yeah. I could see some other series ending that way and it being an okay, satisfying ending, but not X-Files.
And another thing that really bummed me out was that the aliens weren't invading for their original reason of turning people into embryos for their babies. That was
Yeah.
what was established throughout the entire series. No, they were doing it because elite humans asked them to dwindle some of their population. And I'm like, that is not what's been established throughout this series.
Yeah. And I think one of the big hangups, right, with some of the creative team that got saddled with X-Files, because it's not even the entirety of the original creative team, is that they have this sort of image of leaning into conspiracy theories, so they want to lean into whatever the current ones are. And that is a
Yeah.
very current conspiracy theory, but it doesn't match what they were doing.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but not to go on a tangent, but isn't
Mhm.
wiping out half the planet to help the billionaires become richer kind of a stupid plan by design?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It seems to me like the elite class would then have to do their own work if half the people died.
Listen, conspiracy theorists aren't particularly known to be the brightest bulbs in the bunch.
Yeah. But that's a popular enough one to
I
change
know.
the plot of a Marvel movie.
Hmm.
I mean, Thanos wasn't supposed to be like that until the conspiracy came out.
Oh yeah, no. He was actually supposed to be giving like an offering to the embodiment of death so she'd fall in love with him, which I liked that version of
Yeah,
Thanos
I
a lot
know.
more. Anyway, enough about things ruining their own properties. Let's talk about yours, right? I'm
Yeah.
looking at the art. I like the art a lot. I think it's very
Oh,
fitting
thank you.
for the type of story that you say you're telling. I think, like, let's take the X Files for example. If there was an X Files comic, I think this is the type of art that I would probably like to see it in. Or I could think of a
Yeah.
few other things along that line. Your artist name here is Marco Perugini, I think.
I'm
So I
not
like this.
sure. My
Yeah, that's what
editor
it looks
helped me
like.
hire him.
Yeah, yeah. Who also looks to be your letterer as well. Probably makes the job easier because if anybody has to go in and
Yeah.
edit the lettering, he's
Yeah.
already doing it.
Yeah. See,
And it seems you have different
early
colors too.
on,
So this seems like almost a traditional industry team, right? You've got different people in each of the roles.
yeah.
Not something you often see in these indie projects because a lot of people are just saddled having to try to do everything themselves. But you've like a nice little team going on here.
Yeah. I got to tell you something.
Mhm.
First time I had, this is not the first version of a comic. The first version was kickstarted twice and failed, and my new editor said that's because the art isn't that good.
That's fair.
And I paid more for the previous art, which was in black and white and less quality, than I did for this art team,
Mm.
which is in color.
Well, I mean, I have to hand it to your editor for finding the right people because if that's the case, it
Yeah.
sounds like you were just ripped off the first time.
Yeah, I didn't want to believe that because the guy who um helped me find the first artist I thought was my friend.
Yeah.
But maybe he's not. I don't know.
Well,
He got pretty mad at me recently, but long story.
yeah. Sometimes it's hard to tell the distinction between just friends and associates, right?
Yeah. He runs a small game development studio,
Okay.
and I don't know. Maybe he really thought the art would work. I don't know, but
Well, did he find
I
you the
spent like
artist
a
from the perspective of a game developer, right? Because a comic art and say like character design and drafting for games, almost different talents. That even if the person could
missing
be a good
out.
artist, doesn't necessarily mean that they would be good at illustrating a comic and sequential art.
Yeah, it looked more like a manga, but it also looked like the artist had given up halfway through
Mm.
the old version.
Well, at least this art looks great.
Yeah,
Very simple. The colorist is not overdoing it because you very easily could ruin these nice strong spotted blacks by going too heavy in the blending. I think choosing to go with basically a cell shading fits the art
yeah,
nicely.
yeah. Still there?
Now, yeah, yes. The lettering for the most
Because
part
your
looks fine
picture
too.
stopped moving.
Yeah, I don't know if that's probably just our connection between each other.
Okay. Okay,
Because
just
when I'm
making
looking
sure.
at, yeah, well, looking at my connection, everything looks fine on my end. So it's probably just
Okay.
between us.
Okay.
Let me just say the lettering also, for the most part, looks fine. Uh, I could nitpick the spacing of the letters inside the bubble here and there, but not enough that it matters. Everything looks like it reads well. From just
Yeah.
a artistic perspective, I could definitely recommend this to people.
Yeah. The editor slash letterer is dyslexic, so
Mm.
he had to do a lot of editing, but at least he doesn't charge me extra for that.
Yeah, it's a
And I really
horrible,
like the guy.
horrible ailment, right? Disability for somebody whose job is editing. I'm sure probably he gets that enough himself as it is, having to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, I like the guy. He's
Mhm.
not charging me too much,
The
and
advantage
he
is
seems to know what he's doing.
having a dyslexic person as your letterer and editor means that he's probably going to format it in a way that it's fairly good for dyslexic people to read. So there's a
Oh,
plus side on that, right?
yeah. Now that I think of it, I might not have been supposed to say that.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well,
I
like I said,
myself am autistic.
I'm looking at it. I said it reads well. So and talk
Okay.
about somebody who's
I
working with the training weight still on. He's doing a good job.
I myself am autistic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's very common in the creative sphere. You know,
Yeah.
does that bleed into your story at all? Like, I'm trying to weigh how can I word that? Do you think that plays into your motivation to create a comic like this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're talking if it affects the story, I did write a story inspired by my autism, but it wasn't this one.
Okay.
It was not even published.
This is
Yet,
most
at
stories that
least.
are ever written never get published.
Yeah.
It's good to write them though. A lot of people need to understand like
Yeah.
most of the stuff that anybody writes, period, isn't even worth other people
Yeah.
reading. But you'll never get to the stuff that's worth people reading if you don't write that other stuff first.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are the biggest selling points on your comic? Like, if you could isolate it down to just a few things.
I've never been good with that part. That question, to be honest.
Yeah, like
I
if you
don't
get it down
know.
to like two or three hooks, like if you were not the creator of the comic, if you were looking at this from a reader who would pick this up off of a shelf, what are like the two or three things about it that would get you to want to read this?
Well, one thing I know would be a good thing is you don't have to commit as much money and effort into reading this because we plan to not have any overarching story. So therefore, it's just going to be pick up and read. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to have a backlog.
You could just come in and out, like even if you missed
Yeah.
two or three of them, you could just pick up whatever the most current one is.
Yeah, I want it to be like Law and Order or like Twilight Zone, where you don't really have to follow every single issue just to figure out the story.
Yeah, yeah, like one of those syndicated serials where it's just like whatever episode is on this week, you could just enjoy it.
Yeah. That would
That is
be the
definitely
one thing I would say is a hook.
that's a good hook. You don't get that as much as you used to. They used to be everywhere.
Yeah, I have noticed that monster of the week seems to be dying, except in police procedurals,
Yeah.
at least in TV channels. That is.
And even then, most of those, like police procedurals, are all aping on, say, like the CSI or NCIS style of doing things, right? So it's all like
Yeah.
this fixed team where you got to like the characters, which everybody likes. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
diss on it too much. It's just there's too much of the same thing. You don't have many buddy cop shows. You don't have uh, much variety. It's all like 6 people on a team that all have their jobs. You're gonna get to know them every single week.
Yeah, we're kind of doing that with our story in that there are 3 main characters, at least.
Okay.
There's Carl Vincent, Emily Niles of the Night Slayers, and then there's this police officer, Zonovan Stone, who hates paranormal investigators because he thinks it's all a scam.
Okay. That's a
And
good
he's
character to
trying
have
to
in there.
find some excuse. He's trying to find any excuse to arrest the Night Slayers.
Need a little
But in our
pushback,
first
you know?
but in the first issue, something happens where he needs their help. So they start an uneasy alliance temporarily.
Yeah.
I might as well just tell you, a kid goes missing and the only witness believes in the paranormal and won't talk to anyone but the Night Slayers. So Jonathan Stone has to hire the Night Slayers as consultants to solve the case for him.
That makes sense, though. That's a very realistic situation you might run into in real life, where like maybe the grandma believes goblins did it, and she won't talk to anyone unless they are willing to entertain that goblins did it. That's a great hook for the start, for getting these people involved.
Oh, and I actually, instead of just going by fairy tales, I also I tried to match every fairy tale to the mythological creature I thought that the fairy tale represented.
Okay.
Like Big Bad Wolf would clearly be a reference to a werewolf. I did the same
Actually,
with
that was the original version of a werewolf before lycanthropy got thrown in. So yeah, that's fitting.
But I read through a book of monsters and came to the conclusion of what Rumpelstiltskin would have to be. I'm not
what
going
was
to
your
tell you
conclusion?
what, but
Oh, okay. If
I'm
that's
not
a
going to tell
surprise
you
for the
what
comic,
because
that's fine.
in the comic.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
when I found out what the creature's in question's weakness was, I about died laughing. And then I promptly put it in the script, and you're going to die laughing when you find out what his real weakness would be based on myth and
Okay.
religion.
Tying back to what you were saying before, where, at the beginning of the stream, where it's like, I'm not going to tell you what his weakness is. Like, that makes sense as to why we're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
But it is actually something that the ancients believed.
Well, that sounds fun. That alone is a
Yeah.
pretty interesting hook.
I'll give you one hint. It's something we still use today. But I won't go any further than that.
Okay.
And probably for the exact same reason, but we aren't even aware of that.
See, Fizz in the chat also says, with those shows that we were talking about before, that they always have like this one will they won't they relationship between like a guy policeman and a girl cop. I assume that's not going to be an issue with this story so far, or at least you don't know, right? Because you said you're not too far in development.
I've never really thought of it too much. I
Yeah.
just wanted to focus on the professional end.
Mm-hmm.
I have been asked that, though, but I haven't really thought of it.
I think it's better not
Given
to,
it too much
right?
consideration.
Especially
Oh,
since you're
really?
going with
I
this
don't know.
Monster of the Week style thing. I think this is the type of story that it's kind of better to just explore as it's developing, right? Like if you're writing
Yeah.
it and eventually it just makes sense to happen, then you could do it. Or if it never makes sense to happen,
Okay.
then you just don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know which way to take it, but yeah. I'm not good with writing romance, to be honest, so it's probably not a good idea to go down that road either.
It also just takes too much time out of a story if that's not the main point of
Yeah,
the story, right? So it starts
yeah,
to alienate your audience. It's like, man, I wanted to see them do detective work. I wanted to see them figure out what's going on, and they're just spending half the comic with mushy stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that is probably a good amount for getting people interested in the comic. We might get back to that in a little bit. But let's talk about the actual funding of your comic, right? Since we are promoting a project here. We have a bunch of different tiers. I do like that you have just this basic $1. I can back it just because I believe I want the project to go type thing. I think that should
I
probably
think
be an
that appeared
almost.
automatically.
Oh, is that just like a thing that Kickstarter does now? They didn't used to. You used to have
Yeah,
to
I guess
manually
so,
add
because
that.
my lowest tier is supposed to be the $5 tier.
Okay, well, props to Kickstarter for making that just a default thing now. That didn't used to be a thing way
Yeah.
back. But yeah, so we got. Let's find your $5 tier. This is the digital copy, which is something I think
Yep.
should be mandatory for every single campaign. There's a lot of people who are just staunchly anti-digital, but I don't think you can
Yeah.
get away with it now, right? That's actually how the majority of
I
people
I
read comics.
I do get the resist, but offering that just for a extra money thing,
It's
and
basically
as
free
long as you
money.
offer a physical, I mean, as long as you offer a physical with it,
Yeah.
it's not that big a problem.
Yeah,
But
yeah, because you have to make the PDF anyway to get it printed.
yeah,
Like you might as well offer it for people who only want a digital copy.
and I also backed a comic called The Lightning Girl,
Mm-hmm.
and I was shocked to find out that they didn't have digitals. They just had $5 physicals.
I mean, that's a sweet deal for a physical for like something that's an actual project and not something you bought off of a shelf. Because I mean, these days that's about shelf price.
It seems to be like a reboot of The Flash, but it looks
Mm-hmm.
cool. But
Yeah. I, I,
and they've been having a lot of issues with their distribution, though. But
oh.
sorry, on
Oh, I
a
was just gonna say
tangent
like,
again.
um, well, I know one of the reasons a lot of people don't do digital, at least some of the older, grumpier people, is because they think, one, it makes piracy easier. I think that's a no brainer reason for it because piracy, the enemy of piracy is accessibility. If you make a cheap digital version, people would rather buy it than pirate it. And the people who would pirate it were never going to buy your comic in any form whatsoever. And if you don't make digital accessible, then somebody out of spite is going to buy a physical copy and then tear it apart and scan it and make a digital version anyway just to pirate out there. So you're not really beating piracy by doing that. All you're doing is
Yeah.
leaving money on
Can
the
I
table.
can I confess something real quick? I used
If
to
you feel
be an
like.
internet pirate.
Oh, I still am.
I used to be an internet pirate. Um, but I eventually realized it was not legal, and that it was why my computer kept doing odd things. So
Well,
I
I would
quit.
say we're not anti-piracy here. We
Oh,
are
really?
no, we're pro
I
logic.
hate it now.
If you don't want piracy, then you need to operate in a way where people don't want to pirate your stuff. I think that's the way things should
Yeah.
go. Um, and by having accessible digital versions, you are operating in a way where people probably won't pirate your stuff.
Yeah. That makes sense. I was informed that by pirating games that I already owned a physical copy of, there was no problem. And then I started getting my computer to send me to weird websites without my permission.
Well, there's always a risk with stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we got. We've got your $5 one. We've got the physical copy. Your actual featured tier is $10, which is about average for an independent backed project for $10 on a physical copy.
Hmm.
It's always been a
Yeah.
thing where people are like, man, that's too much for a comic. It's like, yeah, if you're comparing it to rich publishers that can just burn money away, for an individual, very fair price. We also have signed copy for about twice of it. That one at least. Oh no, both of them too. So you're giving the digital with the physical. I like that.
Yep.
There's no reason not to. Let's see, what is this retail bundle? Let me look at this. 6 copies. Oh, so if retailers want to pick it up, they can just pretty inexpensively pick up a bunch of them at once. That's a good bundle to have.
Yeah. I really wanted to do that, then I was told not to, then I was told, what are you talking about? Do it. So I don't know what to believe anymore, so I just did it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think you're going to get conflicting opinions from literally everyone, right? Like, even me saying, I think this is a good idea. This is just from my biased perspective of, as somebody who has consumed comics, what I think would be a fair price. But you're going to get all kinds of different advice and directions from different people. Yeah. It's bound to happen. You also have a trading card with it, though I do not see an image for it. Is just like a placeholder. Are you still working on that?
Placeholder? It should be there. It's
unless it might be further down. I'm just looking at the tier. Just has like a little empty card in front of the cover, like it's a placeholder image.
I don't remember this.
Oh wait. I could see. It's because there's multiple cards. I have to go back over to the main stuff.
Yeah, there should be about 6 of them.
Yes, for each of the characters involved.
Yeah. The comic in any physical way. You can buy the really expensive tier and get just about everything. What was it? The deluxe package? The cards come with that too.
Oh, that's good. I'm looking for it. Yeah, here we go. The $120 deluxe package comes with everything except the poster.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is a fair price. I actually couldn't even judge whether that's a good price, too much or too little. That's especially with cards. I don't know the value of cards. That's always been beyond me. I'm sure your editor's probably given you opinions on that. Probably knows more than I would.
Yeah. I know I also allow for one of my things a custom trading card of a custom monster.
Yes, I see that in the $100 comic plus custom trading card.
Yeah, you get your favorite cryptid drawn.
That's pretty cool. So if somebody just happened to be like, I don't know, a Bunyip fan, they could just pay it and get you to have a Bunyip card for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ashamed to say I don't know what that is. I've heard of it, but I've never heard of a don't know what a Bunyip is.
Actually, I remember being at a what's it called? At like a Renaissance festival, right? And they had like a Monster Hunters museum in there, and I was catching the person off guard all the time because, it was his job to be the tour guide to the little museum. And every time he asked me about like a monster based on his design, like, oh yeah, that's a cockatrice. Like, I just knew it off the top of my head. And then I started asking him about a few different things. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And that's what happens when like a nerd who's read way too many books and internet articles ends up going to like some attraction that's meant for normies.
Yeah. I didn't know Renaissance fairs were not meant for nerds.
Yeah. Well, the Bunyip one was definitely a curveball because that's like an Australian Aboriginal monster. So you definitely shouldn't hear about that if you were playing a character that's in a Renaissance fair, right? But he didn't even know how to play that off. But yeah, it's fun. You know, it's fun to have all these options, right? Every culture throughout human history has all of these different monsters and cryptids and stuff. So you get a lot to play with.
I don't know if this would be relevant, but I have seen something that could classify as paranormal once.
Oh, as have I. But what did you see?
Oh, a giant insect about the size of my hand, 4 wings, 2 legs, shaped like a human.
Yeah, I would definitely
My
say that would
parents and
be
I,
paranormal for sure.
my parents and I looked at each other and went, "Was that a fairy?" It was dark and we couldn't tell what it was, but it was sure shaped like a human.
Yeah, you have one of those Black Sabbath moments. You know, fairies wear boots. You got to believe me.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Oh, it's a fairies wear boots is a song by Black Sabbath. It's off their album Paranoid.
Oh,
You know,
okay. Never listened to their songs, I guess.
yeah. Well, it's also like, yeah, I'm kind of a nerd with a lot of different things. One of those
And
multifaceted ones. Most people don't hear most of the songs that bands do, right? You hear the stuff that ends up on the radio. A lot of their stuff is just buried into the album, and most people aren't album listeners.
yeah. I think seeing that creature may have inspired this comic because not long after I saw it, I started researching cryptids,
Oh, okay. So
and
that
I've
was like
been researching them for years.
your personal inciting incident.
Pretty much. I don't get much helpful information about it by Googling it.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I've gotten like maybe 2 videos that look legit, and the rest is a whole bunch of clearly hoaxes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the majority of the stuff out there. Even most of the
Yeah.
random information I have about myths and cryptids and stuff, I had to read books in the library, and even with those, you're not even sure how much of the information you're getting is fruitful. But it's probably
Yeah.
often
Uh,
better off than the random web pages you come across on the internet.
One of the funniest things I ever heard was you have to believe in fairies to see them. I'm like, I sure didn't believe before I saw that, whatever that was.
Yeah, it's like I think there's that kind of situation where people confuse the cause and the effect, right? Because it's like, yeah, there's some people who want to believe, right? Like the Fox Molders. You have the poster on your wall, I want
Yeah.
to believe. But most people are, even if it was a hallucination, right? Like sometimes you just have to chalk up it might have been a hallucination. Even if it was, you probably don't start believing until you have that situation, right? Like I've had a lot of crazy incidents in my life. I try to rationalize most of them. A lot of them are really hard to, but it's like I don't like ghosts. I don't think I probably would have started believing in ghosts if I didn't live in a haunted house for my childhood. It's hard to
Yeah.
really square the peg there.
I mean, I've had a lot of other experiences, but none I could actually fundamentally say were real.
Yeah, yeah.
There was always an alternate explanation for all of them. Like,
Oh,
I
pretty
used to
much every
swear
time.
when I was a kid, I used to swear a demonic pig would escape my closet if I didn't keep it closed. and I
Yeah.
remember what that thing looked like.
Well, we also have to
And
remember too, like being kids, right? Like the younger you are, the more active your imagination is. Where there's a harder, uh, what's it called? It harder way to perceive the difference between reality and the fantasy that's alive in front of you.
yeah, and I think Mom thought maybe it was my ADHD medication was messing with me and causing hallucinations.
Mm-hmm. Mayhaps, and you may
Around
never
that
know.
time, I started having mood swings too during
Especially
the
because
day.
the way the mind works, right? It's like you something could feel completely real, right?
But when I saw that creature in the woods, my parents saw it too. So it had to be real, whatever it was.
Possibly. Right. It is possible you could have had a group hallucination. Highly less likely though. The more eyes you have on something, the better chance that it's something that actually happened.
Are group hallucinations a real thing?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I thought you
Absolutely.
had to suggest something.
No,
The
no,
only
there's all kinds of times where people just like hallucinated the same thing at the same time. It could be because of the
I always
way
assume.
uh, light refracted or whatever, that they're all seeing the
Oh,
same illusion as each other.
that
Um,
almost sounds like you're a Men in Black agent.
well, the reason they use that though is because psychologically there is some truth to it, so it's easier to sell people on that.
All these years I've wondered why would the government keep aliens a secret? And then I think I finally come up with a coherent reason. They want to keep all the flying saucer mechanics to themselves
Mm,
and not share them with other countries.
possibly,
That's the
but
only
like
reason I can figure.
it is with anything. It's like the conspiracy or any secret is harder to keep the more people who are involved with it, right? So
Yeah,
it would also be in every other nation's best interest to try to expose that, if that were the
yeah,
case, right?
yeah.
But hey,
You still there? I
oh
think.
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I thought you're glitching up again on my end,
Mm.
at least. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Listen,
I can still hear you, but your screen just kind of froze.
well, the good news is everybody at home can see what's going on.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Uh, where am I at on Kickstarter? Last I checked, I was 41%.
yeah. Let me scroll up and look. Let's see. Let me actually refresh the page. I don't think anything has changed since we started. I have a very small channel.
Oh,
Like, I'm glad to promote anybody who wants to come on. I don't know how much of a difference it'll be, but hey, you gotta throw as many of your eggs out there as possible, right?
okay. Yeah,
And so you're at
I'm starting to think.
27 backers is where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to think I need to quit and start over,
Oh yeah,
but I don't know.
it's
This
hard
is
to
the
tell.
the most I've ever received in one campaign, but still, it's not enough.
Hey, you know what? I tell you, you did better than the one time I did a comic campaign. I hit
Well,
$300 and that was it back in like 2017.
that's about what
You have
I.
$111 more than I got.
Well, it took about 3 tries.
you know,
What was your comic about?
the one that I was trying to kickstart was a magical girl superhero book about a cheerleader who survived a car accident and transforms into a speedster bunny girl against her will. It's called The Astounding
Okie
Jackrabbit.
dokie.
Yeah. I like to make very off the wall ideas.
You know, there was actually a Spider-Man story. You know how Spider-Man got his powers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, basically, there was a Spider-Man comic. I don't know if it's probably not very well known, but I bought a comic a while back and like years ago and read the story. And anyway, some guy accidentally replicated the phenomenon that caused Spider-Man to get his powers and got bitten by a rabbit instead of a spider. And he was so embarrassed about the source of his powers, he didn't want to reveal them to the world.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But he could like hop at super speed.
Yeah, I mean that's more or less
It was
kind of I
funny.
think the powers that this character had. She had basically the effect of super strength, but all in her legs, right? So she could run at super speed. She could hop super high. She had super kicks and stuff like that. But that was about it.
Yeah. Is she lucky?
Well, you could say she was lucky to survive that bus accident that killed all of the other
Oh.
cheerleaders.
Because they say
But-
rabbit feet are lucky.
Yeah, yeah. You might think that she was super unlucky that she survived and now turns into a literal bunny girl against her will anytime there's danger around. And has to
Oh
try to
my
juggle with that. But yeah, that was the one I tried kickstarting, and that didn't go over well. So after that, I just started making webcomics on my own.
Oh. Did you ever publish it?
No, that book is still sitting in
A
limbo
rabbit
right
one?
now.
Oh,
I think
are you ever gonna kickstart it again?
I don't know if I'll do a Kickstarter ever again. I don't know if that's going to be my thing. I might literally just make it and do print on demand.
Okay.
Fizz is like, knowing
Do you have
me,
any
I assume she
advice
just
if
had
my
bunny ears and
Kickstarter-
tails. No, Fizz. She was all covered in fur. You can find a page for the Outstanding Jackrabbit slash, God, what did I call her? Oh, God, her name is something Harper. I don't know why I'm blanking on her first name. But you could find her page on the X Dynamics Chaos website. She went and was full rabbit. But anyway, your advice in case your Kickstarter fails. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Let me think about that, because like you said, this is your third go at it, right?
Yeah, but the other two were with a different artist.
Yeah. So, how much are you in the hole? Right? Like, did you pay for all the art to be done already, or just enough to promote?
Yes. I have paid for all art twice.
All the art twice. Okay. So, the benefit to a Kickstarter is that it is also your marketing campaign, right? Like it gets the news out to people. It helps you gauge the interest of people who might be into your book. You definitely, if you want a campaign to be successful, you need to do a lot of pre-marketing before you go live, right? Like you maybe like have a preview page, because you can set up a preview page. You want to go out and you want to do shows like this. Well, a full show like this you want to do after your live, right? So people can look at the page and everything, and you can track it. But you want to start getting the word out that the campaign is coming anywhere from like a week to a month before you go live. Because you want to try to get as much funding as you can right away. It really helps push you up in the algorithm and stuff for other random people to find you. But if even doing some pre-marketing, you're struggling to be able to get your minimum goal that you need for everything, I might just say talk to your editor about it. Probably has a lot more experience with it. But I would just go print on demand, right? That's mostly what I do these days, but I also mostly work in web comics, so that's like a completely different field almost. But I do collect all my chapters when I'm done, and I go and I put them up on Indie Planet through Kablam. So anybody who wants a physical copy
Oh,
of the chapter can go buy a physical copy. Print on demand is great. You just won't be seeing a lot of money back really soon, right? You still have to do all the same marketing if you want people to buy it, but it will be permanently there if anybody ever wants it, including going back and getting like issue 1, 2, 3 if they missed it. That
yeah.
may not be the best solution for you, but it is like a fallback.
Yeah. I know I'm familiar with Global Comics and I'm
Mm-hmm.
familiar with Ingram Spark.
Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff up on
Well, I'll
Global
be in.
Comics too.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't really like Ingram Spark that much anymore.
Mm.
I was informed that if I went through Ingram Spark, I could get my books into bookstores. Guess what? That didn't happen.
Yeah, you're probably far more likely, which is the pain for formatting a way that they like it, to get your stuff in bookstores by just having your stuff print on demand on Amazon. I just hate Amazon
Yeah.
service for comics specifically because it is a
They
pain in the
say
butt.
actually that
Hmm.
they say most bookstores won't accept Amazon published books.
A lot of them won't. I'm just saying, like by comparison, you're probably far more likely, and that's more of an insult to the other guys than it actually is a benefit to Amazon. Um, and the thing I dislike about it is because it's a pain in the butt to try to get them to print to the edge of the page when it comes to images because they're mostly used to working with words like prose books, novels, and everything.
Who?
Uh,
Ingram
Amazon.
Spark?
No, Amazon. That's one of the big reasons to avoid it. It's like trying to actually get your comic to print the right way. I would not recommend it.
Does Comixology still exist?
No, but some of the former people who worked at Comixology before Amazon purchased them have just started opening up a new place. It's called Neon Ichiban, which is trying to be their
Oh,
new face for digital comics. Um, I've been meaning to look more into it. I can't tell you too much about Neon Ichiban. I don't believe it's fully open. I think you have to request for submission, but that's kind of how Comixology was back in the day, and they had to approve it.
oh,
But
well,
that's kind of like their
I
new
current.
startup.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I currently have a preview of my comic available on um Global Comics,
Oh, that's good. You
and
probably
it's
should
got a
have
few followers.
sent me the link to that when I asked you for any links we might need. I could have put that in the
I
description.
didn't even think of that at the time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, I could always add it to the description afterwards. Some people might watch this on the VOD, so by now, if it's been added, they could go down and see it in the description. The link to the Kickstarter is down there.
Yeah, that's good. Um, you want me to get it now?
Yeah, you can if you want. It's perfectly fine. I can add it while we're live.
Okay.
There's no problem with that. Yeah. One of the things I like about Kablam and Indie Planet as like an ultimate fallback for people who are failing to get things anywhere else, though I just like them in general too, is you only have to order one proof copy of your comic to get it on print on demand at Indie Planet, which is great. You don't have to set yourself too far back just to be like, hey, man, I put all this money into this comic already. I just need it out somewhere where people can buy it.
I just was informed that I've had 433 views on the Night Slayers.
Oh, nice.
The Global Comics, and 11 what's called selves. I assume that means bookmarks.
Yeah, yeah. It means like people put it into their library.
Okay. Every website's got to have its own
Yeah,
terminology.
yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Anyway,
The cool thing about global
um,
is like, after your campaigns, everything over, whether it's successful or not, you can just upload the rest of the pages there. You can make it to where only the first few are free and people can just buy the digital comic
yeah.
straight there.
Yep. Okie dokie.
I'm a big fan of global comics. I think it's a great site that more people should
Oh, I
use.
thought you didn't know what they were for a bit there.
No,
Okay,
no, no.
I'm sorry.
I have all my stuff on global comics too. I think it's a good site. More people should use it.
Okay, I just put my link to
Yeah,
Global Comics
I see
on
it.
our Discord's talk.
Yeah, it's in the stage chat. I got it.
So, anything
Yeah.
else we need to talk about?
Let
I
me.
kind of losing focus.
If that's it for you, you know what? Let me take this away. I don't want that. I don't want that streamed. There we go. If that's it for you, we can wrap up. We did cover an hour, and that's usually what I want from people when I promote anything. So you have met your quota time.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry
I
I
think this is a good book from what I've seen. Obviously, I haven't been able to read it.
yeah.
So I can't actually judge more than that. But from your preview pages, it looks interesting. From you've told me about it, it looks interesting. Anybody who's watching this live or catching the VOD later, at least go look at the Kickstarter, see if it's for you. Uh, but definitely consider throwing some money at it. Not the $1. Go at least buy the digital.
Yeah. It looks like I've got the first 8 pages available on Global Comics right now.
Okay.
Well, 10 if you count the covers that I used.
And so you have
Anyway,
just a little over a third of the book available for preview. Or a little under a half, whichever way you want to look at it.
yeah.
But that's good. If people, I'm
And
going to put the link below. If people want to actually have a good preview, and I'll go read it myself. I probably would have read it already if you had given it to me before, and then I
I'm
probably could
sorry.
have spoken a little bit better. You know what? You don't have apology to me. Apologize to yourself, right? Like you're the one
Yeah.
suffering from me not being able to talk about your project more. Well, that was actually
There
almost like
is
a
one.
command. You should apologize to yourself live on stream right now.
Okay. Um, I don't know if this would be anything to talk about, but you know how the EMF reader
Yeah.
in ghost hunting shows? I have something written in the comic called the Mod, which is Magic Origin Detector. It's supposed to be like an EMF reader, but instead of just ghosts, this tracks every magical artifact and creature.
Okay. It's pretty cool.
And it can basically tell you what kind of monster you're looking at.
This definitely would be way handier than an EMF reader. I don't even think those things are
Yeah.
particularly that good for ghost hunting. Uh, more
Yeah.
for process of elimination than anything, right? Because
Yeah.
electrical wave signals can probably cause you to hallucinate if you're in a house with like really bad old wiring. It can cause migraines and stuff. So it'd be better to eliminate things than it would be to actually detecting ghosts. But having a little
Yeah.
device that can show you what magical thing you're looking at would be very handy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I'm sure you'll probably be adding a lot of nice little gadgets to their utility belt, so to say, as time goes on, as you get more stories.
I never really thought of any more than that, to be honest.
You don't have to.
Other
Like I
than
said, these are
going,
the type of things that if you just like sit in the world long enough, they'll kind of, if it's necessary, it'll come to you.
yeah, yeah. I didn't want to go full Star Labs and have people inventing things that could
Yeah.
just invent that could just solve the problem every issue.
No, you'd
Uh,
want to play more around like having alternate versions of real world things, right? Like how this is almost like an
yeah,
alternate version of the EMF reader.
yeah. My editor and I disagree about the origin of mod.
Okay.
I think Emily's father created it, and my editor thinks one of them should create it.
I can see both directions being viable depending on what you're doing with the story as a whole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know which way to go with this
Yeah.
anymore, with the tech part.
Well, I mean, the whole point of having an editor, right? Like, if you don't personally know, if you don't
Yeah,
have a super strong opinion about something, it's probably
yeah,
better to just default to whatever your editor says.
yeah. But one thing I don't like too much about what he's saying is that I think the information the mod gives is too useful.
Mm.
I don't know how to explain it, but I had it where the mod had like 3 categories of magic it could read, and all monsters fall within one of those categories.
Oh yeah, so like whether it's a
He
fae,
added,
whether it's a demon, or whatever, right? You've got like three
yeah,
basic categories,
and he changed it so that there are like 20 categories.
and slowly it's becoming more like a Pokedex, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it would be more interesting to batch them all into 3 categories,
yeah,
but
because then you could also
and
play
maybe have
with the
one that was
mechanics of your world,
uncategorized.
right? Where it's
I'd even
like,
like to have. I would really like to have it where have a monster that doesn't appear on the register because it's uncategorized.
yeah, and maybe it like because mechanically with your world, if they can pick up different categories. It's because like the magic works in a certain way. So if you did find something that was uncategorized, you wouldn't even know how to deal with what it is necessarily, right? Like there's
Yeah, I
no
thought that would
easy
be a really
solution.
interesting twist for an issue.
Yeah, yeah, I think it probably could be.
Yeah,
Though I think
yeah, but
from a marketing perspective, right, and this might even be where your editor's looking, by having a bit more categories, like having 20, it makes it easier to sell trading cards and other stuff like that.
oh,
That's probably
never
maybe the
thought of
idea. I
that.
don't want to say I'm in your editor's head or anything because I don't know your editor, but I could see that being a reason.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I didn't want all the
Yeah,
monsters to just be 3 monsters. I wanted
yeah,
them to
yeah.
all to be categories.
Of course, of
Like,
course.
like, I wanted to have spiritual, remnant,
Hmm.
or revenant, I mean, and I believe it what's the other one? Vampiric.
Okay.
No, that was no spiritual, revenant, elemental. Those were the original 3
Oh,
categories.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I could see a lot of things that would
And
just fall into elemental.
yeah, elemental is the first category I
Hmm.
wanted them to find. Rumpelstiltskin was going to be an elemental monster.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the one thing we disagree on. Mm, I don't know. It's too late to change it now, I'd say.
Yeah, but again, it might be for the best. Who knows? We'll find out. Hopefully, you get funded. Um,
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to ask on this or much else to add. So,
Yeah.
if you want, we could start like just wrapping up here. Is there any closing words you want to say to any watchers, any viewers?
Um, I'm really not sure. Thank you for checking us out, I guess. And I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Well, hey, I was. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad to promote a project
Thank you.
anytime there is one. Um, hopefully, some people will catch the VODs here. And for everyone watching, I don't know. Maybe I'll end up doing a stream this weekend. But if not, catch us on Monday for Super Serial Showtime. So yeah.
Bye.